Welcome to What the Tech, the show that cuts right through the corporate BS. And today, we've got a bombshell story about Meta, and it all boils down to just one single number. A number so huge, so mind-boggling, it needs its own moment in the spotlight. $16 billion. Just let that sit there for a second. We're not talking about their stock valuation or some fancy R&D budget. No. This number comes straight from Meta's own internal files, and it's what they project they'll make this year from absolute, unfiltered garbage.
Yep, you heard that right. 16 billion with a B, all from ads that break their very own rules. Look, this isn't some angry report from a watchdog group. This is coming from inside the house. So the real question is, right, what happens when a leak like this gets out? How does a company this massive try to spin it? All right. Let's get into the official story. A huge report from Reuters, citing Meta's own internal documents, basically blew the doors off this thing. And you can bet the PR team went into full-on damage control mode. But before we get to their excuses, let's be clear about what we're actually dealing with. What kind of ads are we even talking about?
Yeah, this is not your garden variety, my burger doesn't look like the picture kind of ad. We are talking about straight-up malicious fraud. We're talking about fake e-commerce sites that just steal your money, illegal online casinos, phony investment schemes promising you the world, and even ads selling banned medical products. This is the nasty stuff, the kind of thing that genuinely hurts people. So, what was Meta's official line?
Oh, and here comes the classic corporate two-step. Sound familiar? They're not saying the document is fake. Oh, no. They're just trying to tell you it doesn't mean what it says. It's just a rough, overly inclusive estimate. Basically, they're saying their own internal numbers are just a wild guess. It's a classic move, right? Don't address the problem, just argue about the numbers. But let's see how their rough estimate stacks up against reality.
So on one side of their mouth, they say we aggressively address scam ads. But out of the other side? Well, another one of their own internal documents says they're showing us, get this, 15 times billion higher risk scam ad impressions. Not per year, not per month, per day. Aggressively address? I don't know, that sounds more like they've left the floodgates wide open. Okay, look, if this is the kind of analysis you're here for, the kind that cuts right through the PR noise, do us a solid and hit that like button and subscribe to What the Tech. It helps us keep making these. All right, now let's really pull back the curtain here.
Because this isn't just about a few bad ads slipping through the system. It's not an oops moment. To really get what's happening, you've got to follow the money. You've got to look at the incentives that are hardwired right into Meta's business model.
And boom. This right here is the smoking gun. This gets to the absolute core of it, because the documents don't just highlight a problem, they reveal a conscious choice. They show that people inside Meta are literally worried that if they clamp down too hard on the scams, they'll miss their revenue targets. Let that sink in. This isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature of the business model. It's proof that user safety and making money are on a collision course.
And this whole situation has a name. It's called compliance theater. It's a brilliant term, really. It's when a company makes a huge public spectacle about how much they care about safety. You know, they'll shout about their amazing AI and publish these glossy reports, but behind the scenes, they're dodging the one thing that would actually solve the problem, because that would mean taking a hit to their revenue. It's all about looking good, not actually doing good.
And it really breaks down into three core failures. First, their incentives are completely out of whack. I mean, the system is fundamentally broken if you're making billions from stuff you've banned. Second, they're using AI as a PR shield. They throw money at it so they can say they're trying, but it isn't actually solving the problem. And third, their own financial forecasts are basically hooked on this low-quality revenue. They're addicted to the scam money, and they're afraid of what'll happen if they quit.
So let's just call it what it is. Meta isn't just failing to manage risk here. The evidence is pointing to something much worse. They've figured out how to monetize that risk. They've turned filth into a predictable $16 billion product, and somebody has to pay the price for that.
So who's picking up the tab? Who really pays the price for all this? Because let me tell you, that $16 billion doesn't just materialize out of thin air. It's squeezed out of the entire system, leaving a wake of destruction for pretty much everyone. Well, everyone except Meta shareholders, it seems.
You can really break it down into three groups of victims here. First, and most obviously, there's us, the users. Then you've got the legitimate businesses, the ones trying to advertise the right way. And believe it or not, in the long run, Meta itself is on this list.
So let's talk about the users, you and me.
When a platform is pumping out 15 billion scammy ad impressions a day, your trust isn't just getting chipped away at. No, it's being power washed off a cliff. It's being sandblasted. Every single one of those ads that you scroll past screams, "This place is not safe for you."
And then there are the real advertisers, right? The small businesses, the big brands who are paying good money to reach you. Well, they're essentially being forced to pay a fraud tax. Their ads don't work as well, and their brand gets stuck right next to some illegal online casino. They're literally paying to subsidize the very scammers who are poisoning the well for everyone.
And lastly, let's talk about Meta's own future. Sure, they're making a killing right now, but what they're really doing is building a giant, ticking regulatory time bomb for themselves. Because once the story becomes Meta knowingly profits from crime, well, regulators don't have to get creative. They just have to enforce existing laws on fraud and consumer protection. And trust me, that is a fight Meta does not want to have.
So let's bring it all together. We've seen the insane number. We've heard the corporate spin. We understand the broken system, and we know who's getting hurt. So what now? What's the verdict?
Look, a problem this huge doesn't get solved with another PR-approved blog post promising to do better. That's not going to cut it. This requires real structural change. And the thing is, we actually know what that looks like. These solutions aren't some big secret.
If Meta were actually serious, here's what they'd do. Number 1, put in hard filters. Real guardrails that stop this stuff, and let an independent third party check your work. Number 2, quarantine the revenue. They should have to report exactly how much money they make from this risky garbage so everyone, especially investors, can see it. And number 3, a kill switch. Give an outside group the power to just shut down entire scam categories. No arguments, no delays, just pull the plug. And this is what is so infuriating, right? This is the central hypocrisy of the whole damn thing. Meta has built the most sophisticated, most precise advertising machine the world has ever seen. This is a company that knows you're thinking about buying a new pair of socks before you do. So for them to turn around and claim that a $16 billion problem is too rough to even measure properly, it's not just unbelievable, it's insulting to our intelligence.
So I'm going to leave you with this one. Simple question. After everything we've seen, the internal documents, the fear of missing revenue targets, the sheer staggering scale of it all, you have to decide for yourself. Is this just a little measurement blip that they're working on? Or is monetizing filth not an accident but the actual business model? Thanks for watching WtT.